Sawubona Ramaphosa. Yabona nje bangize lapha nje angidlali ngiyumama omdala kangaka ungihlukumezile emhlabeni. Ngihlukumezekile ngendaba yakho. Ramaphosa namhlanje ngizothi step down. Within 7 days sicela ube uhleli usukile esitulweni sakho. Awusisebenzeli, awusithandi, awuzange futhi wamthanda umuntu omnyama. Wena umlungu ngaphakathi, umuntu ngaphandle. Ramaphosa awusenzelanga okuhle, azange sibe nazo into ezinhle. Uplana unama plans owaplanayo wena ngathi, kodwa usitsheli thina. Uyasayina usayina into osayinayo, awusitsheli thina. Usayina nezipho ezingenisa lapha, awusitsheli thina. Uhamba ngeluminati, ninamaluminati enosebenzisayo nina, nento enizenzelayo imali, kodwa ucabangela iSouth Africa yakho. Ngithi namhlanje mina ngizoti down Ramaphosa down. Phuma esihlalweni awusisebenzelanga lo sihlalo leso. Isihlalo osteli isihlalo esihlalwa ngabantu abapolitika abangene ejele for lonto leyo. Wena uzange usebenzele lo situlo leso. Onyawupe bagcwele abantwana bethu babhema inyawupe. Ukhona uthini Ramaphosa? Sikwenzeni Ramaphosa? Ingane zethu kwa estratini zajovana ngemijovo. Uthini Ramaphosa? Imisebenzi ayikho. Uthe wena umuntu ona 35 akasanga ngakhona uthola umsebenzi. Usho kanjani lokho? Uphi umsebenzi? Ma umntana efundile nebuye kuthiwa kufuneka experience. Sithathe toilet ni experience. Bayithathe umntana bethi experience. Namhlanje ngithi Ramaphosa phuma, ayikho into engayisho kuwe. Sikhathele uwe, asikufuni Ramaphosa. Hamba phuma esitweni sakho, awusebenzelanga, asikuthandi. Uzawuthandwa ngisho nayi iANC yakho. Bayakusaba ukukutshela. Naba basakufuni, akwenzakalanga lutho. Ayikho imisebenzi, siyayidinga imisebenzi ayikho. Usitshela ngabo GNU. IGNU osilethele yona, bajabulile.
Greetings everyone, I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. I'm back again with another video, and I do appreciate whenever you subscribe and whenever you like, and I just want to say thank you very much. As I always say, we may not always agree, because at the end of the day we are human beings with different perspectives, different analysis, different information, different background, different history, different everything. So that is why we may not always agree. But as I've watched this video, the moment you see women standing up, then you have to know and understand that it's tough. It's very, very tough. And I just want to begin by saying, me personally, I can say, since 1994, I have never seen a president of South Africa standing for black people or giving justice to black people since 1994. I love Jacob Zuma, but I just want to emphasize that since 1994, there's no president in South Africa who has given justice to the people convincingly and wholeheartedly. I have my own reasons. I just want to go back to 1994. If you give justice, you don't only give justice to those who are living or to those who are going to born in the future, but you are also giving justice to those who passed away in a cruel manner, those who experienced torture pre-1994. That is why I'm talking about justice. So right now, black people are still crying like this. Black people are still beggars. Why? It's because in 1994, everything became a scam. That is why I'm like, I honor those leaders who died in a battlefield, who died for the struggle wholeheartedly, because they wanted to free their people to the fullest. But those who took power in 1994, yes, they might have participated in the struggle and etc., etc. But when it comes to decision making, they failed Africans. I would like to talk about land. I know every time we talk about land, there are people who are like, are you still talking about land? Are you still talking about land? The reason they say so is because ANC has given them that opportunity to brag. ANC has given them that arrogance, this type of arrogance they are having, that they can talk anyhow and say, are you still talking about land? And so forth and so forth. And there are those black people who are also saying, are you still talking about land? Do you think goats and few cows can feed the whole country? It's because they think we are superficial. They think we are not knowledgeable at all about using the land efficiently and effectively. They think we are stupid. It doesn't mean just because you are staying in the suburbs, you feel like you are on top of the world, you feel like you have everything. Everything's fine, because even living in a suburb is a strategy. But that's a topic for another day. They call you a middle class and they give you a house. They tell that you qualify now to stay in a suburb is a strategy, but there's nothing wrong by staying in a suburb. When it comes to this issue of land, as long as the land is not in the hands of those it was taken from, those people will remain landless and will remain beggars, because there's absolutely nothing you can do. Because sometimes we say we shouldn't be blaming government, but if you don't have resources, you'll always depend on government. Because those people who are living in farms, those people who are living in villages, sometimes we may think they are foolish because they don't understand political language, they don't watch news, they don't care about all these things. The reason they don't care about all those things is because they don't see any need. Why? Because they can survive by themselves, irregardless of what is happening. If things are getting expensive in retail stores, they can still survive because they are living in farms, they are living in villages whereby they have access to the space, they have access to land. But now, if you don't give justice to black people, they will remain beggars. And white supremacy and these companies, they feel good whenever you beg them. I'm looking for employment. Can you please interview me? I'm desperate. I can do anything. They feel good. These are the results of 1994. Who has made the changes out of all the presidents who took over since 1994? No one. Then let me talk about education, because education is the base. Education is a foundation. The students of 1976, if you follow the history of South Africa, you will know that those students of 1976 were fighting against Bantu education. The reason they were fighting against Bantu education is because Bantu education was not doing them anything. In other words, it was not an effective type of education, but it was a systemized education. In other words, to program you. In other words, to hinder you from accessing certain things, or to hinder you from knowing and understanding certain things. So that is why it was not only about the issue of language, but it was the issue of Bantu education and other struggles as well. So education is the base. So since 1994, we can see that education system has changed multiple times under different ministers of education. They've tried to change education system multiple times because they don't even know what they are doing. So they keep on giving this education that is not effective, that is not good for black people. That is why other people, they end up going away from public schools to private schools, thinking that they will make it. But you have to understand that even in in private schools. They have their own system, but on top of that, it's expensive. But education is very important because you have to be given the education that you can easily convert into business, into an investment. Because if you are going to school, you pay school fees, you buy uniform, you buy stationery, you do research, you do all these things. In other words, it's like you are investing. You are wasting your time. You have to spend your time. You have to sacrifice other things in order to focus on these books and etc. So this thing is like an investment. In other words, you are investing. But how can you invest in something that won't work for you? In something that is poor? Because from grade R to grade 12, from grade 12 to colleges and universities, you can tell that the education system is very poor. It doesn't benefit black people. That is why it's difficult for a marketing graduate to convert that certificate into an investment or into a business opportunity. That is why someone who is at university or who is in college can't connect with the things that they were doing in grade 5 or maybe grade 7 or maybe grade 12. Why? There's no connection. What have they done? Because we sing free education, but if this free education won't give us anything, why should we even fight for it? Because we have to fight for free education that will benefit us. Free education that will be easy for us to convert it into an investment, into something, in other words, into creativity. But they haven't done anything. From Mr. Nelson Mandela until Mr. Ramaphosa right now, no president who has given justice to black people when it comes to education to say this is the type of education that you need. Here in South Africa, we don't have even a single language here in South Africa that can compete with Afrikaans and English. Because every time when we talk about business language, we talk about English and Afrikaans here in South Africa. We cannot talk about Zulu. We cannot talk about Sotho. There's no language that we can talk about. What have they done? What are they doing? Because each and every year we celebrate Heritage Day, Culture Day, all these days. But at the end of the day, they are not contributing anything to our education. We always celebrate 16 June. We always celebrate Freedom Day and etc. etc. But they are not doing anything to contribute towards our education. So you can tell that now these people who are protesting, who are like Ramaphosa must fall, it may not sound good, but in other words, they are fed up. They don't know what to do, because the only thing that we know is to demonstrate. Why? Because we are beggars. There's nothing we can do. We don't have resources. Because now it's easy for people to say, are you still talking about land? Are you still complaining about land? Because that's arrogance that they got from the ruling government or ANC government. No president who has done anything when it comes to all these things. Then again, we come to the issue of economy. Because some people, every time when we talk about economy of black people, they refer to spaza shops. It's important to understand history and understand the history of spaza shops. Spaza shops were created because black people were limited. Black people were not allowed to run banks. Black people were not allowed to run restaurants in towns. You can just look back during apartheid and even after 1994, there were no black-owned stores in various towns and cities in South Africa or across South Africa. Why? Because it was a system Then as a result, black people started like opening spaza shops. Even after opening those spaza shops, they were compelled to order their products from white companies. So that is why now the minds of black people are blocked whenever they think about spaza shops, little knowing that even these spaza shops are just like camps. So since 1994, they haven't done anything to empower black people. The only people they've empowered is themselves, those who are getting tenders. Because the tenders are always received by those people who are connected. They are heartless. They don't know business. They don't understand economics. They don't understand anything about business. What they know is to eat. That's the only thing they know. To eat money and to be ruthless to their brothers and sisters. That's the only thing they know. But here's the thing. When it comes to the economy, black people are excluded. Here in South Africa, are excluded to the core. That is why whenever people see these companies shutting down, they become afraid. They become scared. Why? Because we are beggars. The other thing that I would like to talk about, I just want to talk about drugs. We've been complaining about this thing of drugs after 1994, 1997, we were complaining, 1999, we were complaining, 2000, because we can see the rise of drug use in South Africa. 2010 was worse. Right now it's 2024. 2024 is worse than ever because now we have Nyaupe. Yet we have leaders. Because if you are a leader, you must be an overseer. In other words, you're like an overseer. You have to oversee that this thing is going to damage my people. Let me prevent it before it does any damage to my people. This is what leaders need to do. But you can tell that the issue of drugs, alcohol, to go to parties, left, right, center, is planned. But because now we want to be excited, we want to enjoy ourselves, we want noise, we like all these things that are used against us. We like all these things that are used against us. Then at the end of the day, you are landless. At the end of the day, you have to go and beg somebody to give you a job. You have to go out there and beg somebody to hire you. You even tell them that you can do anything. That's the last word they want to hear from you, that you can do anything. Because one slice of bread is better than nothing. You see women now protesting like this, then you have to know. You have to know it's tough. Drugs are all over. Poverty is all over. Squatter camps are all over. People are struggling. People are suffering. Unemployment is rising every day because there are companies who are above the law. They are above the labor law. They are above the Constitution of South Africa. So right now, we are living in the times of Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. According to me, he's the worst president of South Africa since 1994. He's worse. I don't know if there will be people maybe who will come maybe after some years and say we were wrong about Cyril Ramaphosa, we were wrong about Cyril Ramaphosa. But as for me, I'm like, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa is the worst president to run South Africa. People are suffering. People don't have jobs. Education system is not working. Children are dying. In other words, lawlessness is on top of the world. Poor decision making. I'm not saying all of his decisions are 100% wrong. 99.9% of his decisions are wrong. 99% of his moves are not benefiting Africans at all. This is painful when you see women standing up. You have to do deep analysis.